Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. The Saudis are looking to take their disruption of the sport of boxing a step further, looking to target the price of pay-per-view and bring it into line with the expectation of fans, because obviously, as we know, in recent years it's been exploding, especially in the United States. Very, very costly, but in the UK in the past 10 years it's certainly gone up by a lot. And for different cards in different parts of the world, you can be paying a pretty penny. Generally, it's at least $35 where I am in New Zealand. And Turki Alalshikh is looking to start with the Daniel Dubois and Anthony Joshua clash at Wembley. So this is going to be one of the Riyadh season cards, and obviously the Saudis are helping make this happen, being the money men behind it, so they do have some influence. But there could be some potential snags, but we'll come to that first though. So in talking to TalkSport, as you can see here with the headline, Turki Alalshikh vows to lower the price of pay-per-view. And the story notes that according to some claims, 20 million people illegally streamed Tyson Fury vs Alexander Usyk's historic undisputed clash in May, costing TV rights holders around 95 million in lost revenue. 18% of those were watching illegally in the UK, where the price was £25, while 25% came from North America. I wonder where they get those stats from, but regardless, I mean, I think a lot of boxing cards with the different streaming sites, you know, there's always a percentage of people that are streaming, but when the price goes north of a certain amount, people are more willing to go, well, I'll just take the potential lag and the stream cutting off because you can reload it instead of paying whatever the exorbitant price is. So for the fight for Daniel Dubois and Anthony Joshua, Turki Alalshikh says, you mentioned the pay-per-view. I think this is my next big fight, and I want your advice also. I dream of a pay-per-view with a good price to make fans happy and subscribe, and to get them watch it legally. Usually when I see a high pay-per-view, a lot of people go and watch the fight illegally, and this is not healthy for boxing and the platform. What I will try to push for is to have our Riyadh season shows at less than £20 in England and less than $20 around the world. Wow, that would be fantastic. I think especially in this day and age with, you know, the cost of living having gone up so much in recent years, something like that would actually prompt more people to pay for it. Because if you're in the United States and you're forced to pay $60, $70, $80, $90 for a card, that's a decent chunk of change. He says, I would prefer to have 1 million fans subscribe and buy the pay-per-view for £20 than less than 500 for 40. Well, finally, someone's starting to look at it from the fans' perspective, because I think this is one of the things that, you know, has irked fans. And we all know, and we step back and go, yeah, boxing is a business at the end of the day. People are in it to make money. But right now, with the disruption of the Saudis, they're seemingly willing to take a haircut on making profits. You know, they've got their goals with being in the sport and all the money that they're pumping into it. Certain things that they want to achieve. And if this ends up having a benefit for fans through lower pay-per-view prices because they're subsidizing it essentially, then this is going to be, I think, good for the boxing fan. A lot of the cards right now, especially these big cards, these big Riyadh season cards, they're taking in a lot of the big fighters. So we're getting fewer, what I would call in comparison to the Saudi cards, fewer smaller cards with a big name on it. So we're getting more periods where there's a few weeks without anyone of note really in the ring, and then you get a big card and you've got, 6, 7, 8, 10 household names that we've all seen and can headline their own events in their own right outside of these types of cards. So Turkey continues this, the people will go around it illegally because the price is high. In the future, this will not build boxing. If I give fans good fights at a good price, then I will increase the fan base. Joshua vs Dubois will be available for $19.95 in the UK, with prices elsewhere yet to be officially confirmed. So taking it down a step back to $19.95, under £20 in the UK, is a good step, I think, for fans. People are going to welcome this. And when you also consider, a lot of these, with boxing broadcasters having gone out of the sport in recent years, you've got a smaller number, but what we've been seeing, especially with the advent of these bigger cards, is you're paying a subscription if you've got DAZN, and then you're being asked to pay on top of that with, pay-per-view. And these Riyadh season cards, if they're, say $35 a pop for me, or 40 or whatever, or if it's $70 or $80 in the United States, you start to go, well, what's the benefit of having the subscription beyond a lot of smaller cards that you may not have as much interest in? So I think they have to balance some of this. But I guess where I would come to is, where are the broadcasters in all this? Because at the end of the day, they're a business, and the Saudis probably also have to be cognizant that these broadcasters are all about money, making money, and they're in the sport of boxing to make more money. So who's taking the haircut? Is it just the Saudis, or they are expecting the broadcasters to, if they're reducing prices, does that mean the broadcasters are going to be taking in less of a take? You have to ask that question. Or will there be some sort of extra payment to offset that? Because the broadcasters won't willingly want to bring prices down. Their goal over time is to increase their profit margins. So if they can raise things, and generally what you see is, in the UK, what was it, $16.95 for quite a few years, and then it was all of a sudden up to $18.95, $19.95, and then, slowly creeping up to £25, £26. Elsewhere, it might have been a little bit cheaper and sort of incremental over time. You expect it maybe to go up a bit, and it has. So are the broadcasters wanting to willingly just take a haircut here? I would doubt that. So how's that going to work, especially if they're looking to have it £20 or $20 or less all around the world? Maybe this is just a pipe dream of some sort, long term. But I guess when the Saudis are involved, generally, if they say something, it does happen. And Turkey has been on his social media, on Twitter, talking about when people have hit him up about the prices, and Riyadh season card will be with good price for the fans. And he's retweeted a number of comments and bits and pieces regarding pay-per-view. So this is encouraging, and I think the thing is, with the cost of living right now, a lot of fans will turn to illegal streaming quite easily because they don't want to have to continually pay through the nose to watch the sport. I mean, a lot of the sport at the top level is behind a paywall now, and it's never been easier to stream illegally. So, it's all the technology is available for fans to exploit it if they want to. Regardless of any change, there will probably still always be millions of people for a big fight that are going to try to watch it for free. I think that's just human nature. People will try to get something for nothing. But Daniel Dubois, Anthony Joshua, the first fight where there's a little bit of change. This is being done at 1995 in the UK, TBC elsewhere. I mean, it'll be interesting as well with the broadcasting side, because I think the Saudis need some of these broadcasters, and the broadcasters have leverage. And if they're not going to show the cards because they're like, we're not going to make enough money, there's not enough in it for us, we've got certain costs that we have to basically meet to commit to the sport of boxing and stay in it to make it worth our while. How do they bridge that gap? Because they need broadcasters in certain areas to be showing these fights. Otherwise, just a streaming platform may not cut it. Arguably, having ESPN as a tool for them is a very valuable asset. So I think there's a little bit more water to go under the bridge here, but encouraging. What do you make of this? Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter. Boxing_squared. I'm out.